Well, hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I didn't want to have to start a video like this, but I made a big boo-boo. So this is my lambing barn. It is currently underwater, the entire thing. I was watering in here last night and I put that hose in the trough and turned it on. Thought I turned it off. Apparently I didn't. So yeah, it's a emergency barn clean out. It's not too badly flooded into my bedroom there, but it is still flooded. So emergency barn clean out, here we come. Well, hopefully my mistake will turn into a fun little edit for YouTube here. I feel like such an idiot. But it's most of the way clean. Now there are still puddles of water. What I'll have to do with these is like wait for them to finish draining. You can see underneath this straw, there's still some water coming out. So what'll probably have to happen, I'll let it dry up a little bit, and then I gotta pull all this straw out of here and take those bottom bales out. And at that point then, any of these puddles that are left that don't dry up naturally, I'll have to spread some shavings on them and get them to finish cleaning up. My mistake, but the barn needed cleaned anyway, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Just more or less the water everywhere that didn't need to be there, like along the bottoms of these buildings and in my room here. That wasn't ideal. So this was not at all what I had planned for my next video here. What I actually planned on talking about was why I don't have a sheepdog. But yeah, this is not ideal, but whatever, barn's cleaned out. All right, so it's less than 24 hours since this all flooded. And other than one little puddle of water over there that I didn't sweep out, she is dry. So I had to put the breeding rams in here last night. I'm surprised they haven't come in here yet, but so that's why I just bedded up a little bit in the corner there for them. I did have the meat ram lambs in here but I did pull them out and put them in a pen, which was the pen that I had planned on putting these breeding rams into. So yeah, I had to do a little shuffling because these guys got their 3.5 weeks with their ewes. They were kind of upset to have to be pulled away from them yesterday, but at the same time they were happy to fight with each other. So they're looking good. They're not too, this guy's a little bit skinnier, but they're not too skinny after doing that little breeding session there. So they'll get their hooves trimmed and a couple other things. I'll do probably one more horn trim on this guy because I've seen they're growing again, and change out their tags, trim their feet, you know, check over their testes, make sure they're all good so that they're good to go for the next breeding cycle. So what I wanted to talk about in this video before this mayhem happened in the barn here was why I do not have a sheepdog. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I have little Miss Maggie here, a cowboy corgi. And then I also have her mother, a red heeler, and an older border collie named Merle. Now, Merle was from some amazing working lines. His brother won versatility champion. You know, his dad was a good worker. His mom was a good worker. Merle, on the other hand, he's retired now, but he was a pet. He absolutely wanted nothing to do with herding. Daisy, the red heeler, I got her when she was almost 2 years old from a friend of mine that she never had any training in those younger years. And so she never really kind of took to the sheep work. Now she will follow behind and she helps out a little bit, but not really. But little Miss Maggie here, she's actually kind of coming along now. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to training a stock dog. But if I want to, I can get her to go left and right while pushing the sheep out. Unfortunately, she will not come and like bring them to me. That's more a border collie or kelpie style. Not even so much kelpie, mostly border collie. They want to work at a 180 across the flock of sheep from you. She's understanding how to work them, but I can't bring sheep. Like if I'm sorting through a gate in the back there, I can't use her to bring the sheep up. But honestly, my sheep are so well trained, so they don't give me too much trouble. The way that I've designed these pens is that they can come in from any of the wintering pens in the back there to that central watering area. And then from there, they can go either behind the shop or in the shop, or they can come down what I call the L pen, which is just basically a lane that brings them all the way down to the barn. And then from there, they usually funnel into the barn pretty easily. So it's actually quite nice to be able to just funnel them all the way in. I'm working by myself. So if me and the dog kind of have pushed them up, they come in no problem. And then I shut this gate behind them. And from there, I have 2 different sorting gates that stay shut. There's one there and there's one just behind the barn here. So if I need to put them in a pen, then I can. If not, I can run them all the way into the barn. You know, there's several options from back here as well. So it's not really 100% necessary for me to have a sheepdog. And then the other thing that most people use their sheepdog is for gathering. Honestly, if I stand at the gate and call those ewes and just yell, "Come on, sheep," they come running. Like, they know what it's about. And part of that comes from, you don't want to say pail training the ewes, but because I don't have a TMR mixer, I need to have, when I do mix their grain in for their ration when they're lactating, they get pail fed their grain. So with doing that, they kind of associate me with a treat. So it's a terrible way of moving sheep, but at the same time, it works out to be able to have them just come run into me out of the pasture. And then even to come in out of each of the individual winter pens. So there's a couple back there, but so what we call the arena, the pit pen, the laneway, the wood corral, the corral, and then the west corral. Not that that matters to anyone, but all those different wintering pens all come into that central watering pen. So for them, they know the deal. They know that they're either going to go out to a new set of pastures or they're gonna get grain, or something good is gonna happen. So they usually don't give me too much trouble bringing them out of any of the wintering or paddocks. So that's, it's nice to have well-trained sheep. At the same time, it can be a pain in the butt when they're so used to coming to that particular gate. Most of them will stay away. Like say I'm in the skid steer by myself and I need to get a bale in, which, spoiler alert, something's coming that may change that. That will be in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed to be able to know what is coming. I'm a little bit sick to my stomach, but at the same time, I'm like super excited about this. Solves a lot of my problems and is going to make life so much easier for, you know, doing things by myself. But anyway, when it comes to putting stuff in with the skid steer, I'm not as nimble as I used to be, and it is kind of a pain in the butt when you gotta bail way up in the air and you're trying to get in and out of the skid steer bucket or out of the door in order to get in. And like I can open the gate, lift the bucket up, open the gate, but then you have to get out quicker before, you know, all the sheep come running. So that side is really nice, that with this new machine, even if I do have to go into the pens, that I will have an easier access door to be able to get in and out easier, nicer on the knees, you know, just all around better machine. Now it is going to be way too big for what we need, but anyway, that's in the next video. So again, make sure you're subscribed. But if you have any questions as to, like I said, why I don't have a sheepdog, just make sure you drop a comment and can maybe answer that and maybe explain it a little bit further. Like I said, I wanted to do an in-depth video, but I also don't want this one to get too long with having to do my cleanup within this barn. I'm glad that it cleaned up as nice as it did. I was almost in tears yesterday when it happened, but it was my fault. I'm an idiot. I already know that. Made a mistake. I'm just glad that the well is okay, or at least so far it is okay. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the video. Thank you again so much for watching, and hit the like, subscribe, comment, anything to help the channel out. Again, if you're a new subscriber, just thank you for the support. If you haven't seen it yet, my name is Erin, and this is Sheep Happens Ranch. So see you in the next video. Bye.